Ladies and gentlemen, hey, hi, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. With the Battlefield 6 beta now officially open, of course, you might be jumping in for the very first time, leveling up your guns, testing things out, or you've leveled up a little bit through the early access. Either way, today, wanted to give you guys a couple of weapons to look out for this first beta period, and the best setups and the best loadouts you want to be using on these weapons in specific here. So we've got a couple to break down here today, starting first with what's probably been my go-to loadout the most so far via assault, just because this entire operator, this entire way to play is so fun for so many different reasons. So first up, the main component of this loadout is going to be our main primary here, the M433. This is essentially the first rifle you get, so a lot of you guys just jumping onto the game for the first time via the open beta are going to have this available right away. It's not necessarily the craziest, hardest hitting, best damage, best TTK gun, but it's very straightforward after you level it up, and it's going to be really, really reliable. So wanted to make sure I got you guys a loadout for this. Obviously, we kind of have a pick 10 class setup feature here with the pick 100 system, where all of our various attachments here have different points allotted to them. So you could use anywhere between 3 attachments and fill out the majority of those points, or you could use a bunch of different ones in different categories here. So first up, for the muzzle here, I am using the compensated brake. This is going to help out with recoil control, and it also improves the remaining recoil, so just going to make the gun a lot easier to use, a lot more consistent overall. Really like the feel of this on here. It is a 20 attachment point attachment on here though. Next up, for our barrel on here, I use the 16.5 inch rifle. This is going to help out with some velocity and boost that number up a little bit, as opposed to just the standard barrel on here. So that's going to help out obviously with like your mid to long range efficiency here. The fluted barrel, not really a fan of this. It's going to be based more around handling, and we want the better velocity, the better range. Typically, I just not really, like I said, a fan of how this one feels personally. For the underbarrels here, you just got to be careful with how you really approach gunfights when you're choosing the one that works the best for you. I'm using the 6H64 vertical. This is giving you better recoil control, but it's going to come at the cost of handling when aiming. So your mobility there, your handling is not going to be as good when you're ADS'd. But a lot of the time, you're not typically doing a ton of strafing, a ton of moving when you are ADS. You want to be as accurate as possible here, especially when you factor in bloom and everything. So this to me is going to be the ideal low recoil attachment when you focus on. It's going to be doing a little bit more for what it's worth as well than something like the ribbed vertical on here. So big fan of that. That's a 25 point attachment there as well. For the magazine, I feel like I absolutely have to run this with a 40 round mag, just because I'm constantly out of ammo here. Sometimes it's a little bit easier when you got a team that's just spamming resupplies for you, but so many other times though, I'm like, man, I got 3 kills and I've got nothing left here. I need ammo so badly. So the extra ammo here, that 40 round mag as opposed to the default 30 there, is certainly advantageous in my opinion. I do also go for just the base rear ammo, the full metal jacket here, so don't change up anything there personally. I don't use any ergonomics in this case. This would just simply help out with single fire, and I'm not using semi-auto here. I'm keeping it in full auto. For the optic, this is really going to be a matter of preference. Luckily, they're all the same cost here at 10 points, so you could use whatever one you're the most comfortable with. For me, I really like the OSA 7 one times. It just felt really low visual recoil. I was still accurate. I'm still able to see over long range just fine as well, so I like the look of that one quite a bit. I don't use any optic accessory there or any top accessory like a laser, not really necessary on a rifle for my play there, and of course right accessory is blocked. So this thing feels really, really good. Like I said, this is a low recoil rifle that is just going to be really reliable over all ranges here. You're not going to have to work too much once you level it up. You'll be good to go. This is one of the more straightforward options in the game. I really haven't changed anything on my P18 pistol. I'm not using it that much on this class. I'm just leaving the default attachments on here. Basically, if you wanted to go through and put on a flash hider, or once you level it up, put on a single break port for some better control, you could absolutely do so. But other than that, I'm keeping just the base magazine on there, the base ammo, not really changing anything, like I said, because with the assault pack here and with the assault operator, you can use the shotgun as your first gadget here, the M87A1, and this thing is utterly nuts. Quite frankly, you do not have to change it from the base, attachment setup they give you outright. This thing will one-shot like crazy in the close range. It is so strong. If you're playing domination, or if you're holding down some close quarters on some flags, whatever the case is in Conquest, This thing's gonna absolutely melt players. It is so fun, so satisfying to switch on over to this. I'm rocking, of course, the default 20-inch factory barrel on here. I don't use an underbarrel because I don't feel like there's necessarily a huge need for better control on a shotgun. Plus, I'm also doing a lot of hip fire with this as well, for what it's worth. Keeping the base 7 shell tube on there. I'm also keeping the base buckshot ammo as well. I use the iron sights on here for 5 attachment points. Then I did go ahead and I threw on the 5 milliwatt red laser. If you wanted to use the green one, you could as well once you level that up there, but helping out with some hip fire accuracy. You don't really have to change this though. Like I said, just as it comes default, this thing is an absolute beast. And of course, I've got my explosive gadget 2 on there, the frag, the melee on there too. Like I said, assault is sort of my go-to, my default here. The ability to heal yourself as well with the adrenaline injector, so clutch for my style of play. This has definitely been my #1 most played loadout so far, but there's also some other really solid ones I wanted to feature as well. And by the way, as we are going through all the weapons and setups here today, if you guys enjoy the video, you find the information helpful, a like rating is always seriously appreciated. And if you're new to the channel, you want to guarantee that each and every day you're up to date with all the new videos I'm posting, be sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on those post notifications and help get us one step closer to hitting 1 million subscribers. Next up here, I've got my engineer loadout, and obviously the signature weapon here is going to be your SMG, and so that's where I've got this set up, and the SGX feels fantastic. If you are more of a run and gun style player, you like playing the small map modes like Domination or King of the Hill, for instance, or if you're always up on the objective, you're in the close quarters with this, the SGX is such a strong choice. This thing absolutely melts, especially with the setup that I've got on here. Real quick, again, not really changing anything with the P18 here. I love the fact that I can spam 2 rockets on this too, so I can take out the ground vehicles easily with the RPG. I can also lock onto the air vehicles there with the Stinger, frag, and melee on here once more. But for our SGX here, this thing, it feels so good, like I said. So first up here with my muzzle, I'm currently rocking the compensated brake here, just helping out with that recoil control once more and improving that remaining recoil. For my barrel, I do go with the 8-inch extended, just helping out once more with that velocity, adds in a little bit more consistency in the mid-range with this, and extends your practicality out into the mid-range a little bit more. The hit reg with this does feel a little bit off, and it's certainly noticeable that damage drop off when you get out into the ranges you're not typically supposed to be using an SMG, so helping out with that velocity is going to make this thing feel a little bit more consistent here. I also personally go for the slim angled underbarrel here, helping out a little bit with ADS speed and then slight recoil control, so kind of the best of both worlds. There's some mobility and some control in one. If you really just want to go all in on control, something like the vertical could be practical here. There's also the compact hand stop too, which allows you to fire the weapon while sprinting. Kind of an interesting choice if you wanted to mess around with that once you go through and you level this thing up. For my magazine, I'm going with the 36 round extended mag. It's the max extended mag here. Same deal as before. I just like having that extra ammo available. Any extra bullets you can get here is solid. Even though it's only an upgrade of 6, it's still something. That larger safety net is never a bad thing in my opinion. A key point of this is also the soft point ammo. This is going to give you improved headshot damage. So you'll notice if you land a headshot or 2 in a gunfight with this, it's going to feel like it absolutely fries. It's a really fun alternative to that base ammo, and certainly noticeable when you use it effectively in an engagement. I actually really like the iron sights here as well, so I do stick with those. Again, just 5 attachment points, so we're saving ourselves some points here, even if we're not fully using all of them necessarily. If you wanted to throw on a laser here, you could for free round out those last 10 attachment points. I personally don't feel like it's super necessary, nor do I always want to have that visible to other soldiers, but it's something there if you're looking into it. Again, right accessory locked there. But yeah, this thing is a really fun build as well. And then lastly here, I've got my Recon loadout, my sniper. Quite frankly, you don't have to do too much on the M2010 ESR to make this thing practical. Just by default, it's going to be a fantastic sniping choice. It's our only sniping option here in the beta, and if you want to enhance it a little bit more by leveling it up, obviously you're going to have the ability to do so, but even just by default, this thing's going to feel really good. It's just more so about, can you get those headshots back to back and consistently know that bullet drop and bullet lead. Real quick, again, same P18 setup as before. I'm using the charge for my first gadget, the deploy for my second gadget. We got the frag, we got the melee on there as well. Obviously this is great for trying to push against tanks and stuff, use the C4 to blow up those, or make some new choke points and get some new lines of sight by blowing up some buildings and whatnot as well. But for the M2010 on here, thing is so much fun to use. First up, flash hider here for my muzzle, nothing too crazy. You could go all the way up and rank it up and get the suppressor for 30 attachment points if you really wanted to play more into that stealthy factor there. I don't think it's fully necessary. Flash hider wider has been just fine for me. I'm using the 26-inch carbon barrel here. Obviously what this is going to do is help out with that velocity some. The fluted is a little bit more agile, but it's got worse velocity. I want to obviously have the best projectile velo there, so that those bullet drop and bullet lead situations there are easier to predict, and where I'm aiming is where that bullet's going to go. It's just going to be easier to take out targets over a longer range. I was messing around with the low profile stubby on here. Minor benefit to aiming speed, so it's a little bit more aggressive there. Never a bad thing to have. If you are playing a little bit more relaxed, a little bit slow, further, you know, back into the map, watching some choke points, a bipod would obviously be a solid choice there too. I go for the base 5-round magazine. It works fine. You got to reload there after 5 shots, but it's not a huge hindrance by any means. Base ammo again with that full metal jacket. This is super important. This DLC bolt. This is an aftermarket bolt that actually reduces friction during use, allows for rechambering while aiming. So it's actually really effective there. You can just stay on target there, rechamber as needed. So it's an expensive attachment, 30 points, but also really, really useful. And then I do like the default scope here, the SVPS 6 times. This is a matter of preference, though. Once again, these all cost the same thing basically. So if there's a different one you like more, you really like the DVO 5 times, you could switch over to that. Just simply whatever one you're comfortable with, rock that at the end of the day. I don't change anything with the optic attachments or any accessories here so far. With the laser sights, not really super necessary on a sniper. For the right accessory here, again, the rangefinder. You could use this if you wanted to. I personally haven't equipped it yet or really messed around with this too much. Allows for easy weapon zeroing, but if you wanted to throw that on, you could as well. You'd have enough attachment points if you follow this setup 1-to-1. But yeah, there's a lot of really good choices here within the beta so far. These are just a couple here that I wanted to highlight for you guys as you're getting started, maybe jumping in for the first time or still leveling up some things outright. Couple of different classes and operators you could use and mess around with here. But that's gonna wrap things up. If you guys enjoyed the video, be sure to drop a like on it. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button on your way out. But once again, thank you so much for tuning in, and until next time, take it easy, have an awesome rest of your day, and I'll catch you later. Peace out.